Hello Flosstube friends! Today is Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. My name is Audrey Marie. You have found my channel that is all about cross stitch. And I have marked this as a Flosstube episode number 36, but I will tell you there is not a lot of actual stitching that will be shown in this episode. I just got back from a retreat, Mrs. Parkman's Academy of Needlework in Swindon, England. So I've got a lot of haul to show you, and I want to go over the things that we did throughout the retreat. I took copious notes throughout that weekend so that I would hopefully not forget anything or anyone important from the retreat. I started off, this is take number 2. I started by going over everything that I did in London before the retreat, but actually I was jabbering on and you guys didn't come here to hear all about that. So I'm actually going to start with the retreat, and then if it comes up organically, I'll tell you guys some things about my time in London, and I might go back to that at the end there. But I want to show you the things that we were given as attendees at the retreat. I want to show you the things that I purchased, and I want to definitely show you all the gifties that I got throughout the weekend. Nicola and Sue spoiled us, period. There was great shopping available, and then people were so generous throughout the weekend. I know I got a bunch of gifts. So many other people were giving and getting gifts. It was really, really nice. And actually, I just realized I need to go grab one thing, and then I will be right back, and I think I'll be ready to get going with this. So give me one moment. All right, good to go. So spent a couple nights in London, did London-y things, and then Wednesday I traveled with Laura Duet of Brenda and the Cereal Starter. And if you're watching me, you're definitely watching them. But if you're for some reason not watching their channel, go look them up and just binge it. So Laura and I traveled from Paddington Station to Swindon together. And we arrived at the hotel, whatever it was. I think it was a DoubleTree. We arrived there on Wednesday afternoon, and we did run into some people and got to chit chat, but then basically kind of just retired to our rooms and rested and prepared ourselves for Thursday. The retreat actually didn't officially start until Friday afternoon, but Thursday shopping was available for everyone who was already there. So the event space was open on Thursday. So sure enough, Thursday morning, I think shopping opened at 9 a.m. and we were down there with bells on. So Nicola and Sue Hyde of Minnie McBeans and Nicola Parkman of Hands Across the Sea Samplers, they were the hosts. And so there were a lot of items that Nicola had to offer, as well as a bunch of Fripperies from Sue. But then Michelle of Tabby Cat Linen was there. And there were also other linens there, even though those dyers weren't there. Nicola had collected a bunch of stuff, I think back at market, so that she would have this stuff available for people to purchase. Because I know that Cedar River Linen and Needle and Flax, I don't know how easy it is for Europeans to get. And then Marie and her husband Gunter of Stitches and Swan Bay Fabrics, they arrived on Friday, so you could purchase from them Friday through Sunday. Okay, I think I'll just show you what I bought, because you guys are here for haul, right? I don't always have a lot of haul to show you guys, but I do this time. I definitely do this time. Okay, my objective in going to Swindon was to purchase fabric. I wanted to bulk up my 46 count stash, and I definitely did that. I also got some 56 as well. Okay, this is the one Minnie McBeans piece that I purchased. And I was looking at this on the table with all of Sue's other items, and I was looking at this going, I don't recognize this at all. And I might see a small sampling of a larger piece, not be able to tell you which particular sampler it's in, but I'll know that I have seen it. So this one, I was like, I don't recognize that at all. And I was talking to Laura about it at one point, and she just goes, And I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be off of our retreat piece. So with that, I was able to scurry back to my hotel room, look at the calendar, and figure out what our retreat piece was. But this is not something I needed, and because I stitch most of my hats with 103s, these actually don't, I mean, I don't need this thing. But Laura was like, you can put it on a project bag. And I was like, yep, I'm sold. I'm gonna get it, and I'll put it on whatever project bag I use for this particular piece. So that's the one Minnie McBeans I got. But I have more Minnie McBeans pieces because a couple people gifted me items. This is just a little bag of goodies that I got. Nicola and Sue had a bunch of these little packets filled with spools and ribbons and buttons and beads, all sorts of small little things that you might want to use either for finishing or just decorating. And I'm not really a purple person, but I love the berry colors, and I thought, wouldn't these be so nice displayed in a bowl with small pillow finishes of Emma and Martin Noah Hubbard and Annie Morris, which is also very purple and green heavy. So I thought those three pieces together with all these purpley things would be so cute, so cute. And I did actually finish one of these at the retreat. I'll just show that to you now since I pulled it up. And I didn't iron it. I will eventually because I have to send this to Faye. But I want to finish Martin Noah before I send this one to Faye because I'm going to ask her to finish them identically. I had a little more than half of this done when I went to the retreat, and I was able to stitch during some of the lectures and put the final stitches in this on Sunday. This is stitched with the called for 103s, which are 325 and 348, just two colors. And I stitched this on 46 count Castor Bridge by Tabby Cat. Another thing I got was this collection of green spools. So Nicola had a bunch of spools of silk in packs like this. She had some 3-packs, some 6-packs, some larger packs, but no pack was to any particular sampler. It was just in these collections that she had put together. There were a few collections of silk spools that were just a bunch of bright colors that looked really awesome. And then she had, I don't even remember what the other ones were, but this green one I got because it has both 179 and 274. This is 179 and this is 274, and I burned through those colors. And these are 150 meter spools. So I didn't necessarily need these other 4 colors, but I know I will use them as well because I looked at the numbers and I recognized them. I thought I will need those again at some point, but definitely 179 and 274, I'll need those. So I went ahead and grabbed that, but just gorgeous, gorgeous collection of greens. And then this yellowy cream color here. Grabbed that. Then I really focused on Tabby Cat linens because all of the Tabby Cat linens that I have, I just love the colors. But it is difficult to buy online just because, especially with her modeled pieces, you don't always know what you're going to get. So being able to go through it there in person, touch it, feel it, and look at the whole piece and see what kind of modeling you're going to get, it was nice. She had these little packs. She had larger pieces as well, but she had these little packs. She had either fat 8 packs, which this one is. Then she also had some ornament packs, which were like fat 16ths. And she just put them together in these random little collections. But I thought these are fun colors, and 40 count would be nice for seasonal smalls. So you've got a purpley color, a beautiful green color, this aqua, and then whatever that is. I also purchased a pack of 56, and I pulled the 4th piece and put it I don't know where, so I'll just show you the other ones that were in there. This is obviously a creme brulee. This is a nice buttery ivory, and this is like a pinky color. Yeah, and these aren't labeled. It's just you get what you get. You're just buying based on the color because you can actually see it in person. So I wasn't worried about what the name is. I just want to know what the count is. And as I say, she had small packs like that for anything from 32 to 56. It was great. She had tons of options. She almost had a little too much, but it was nice. Okay, and then she had in baskets, she had small plastic wrap packs like that, but then she also had small things like this that just had like a tie around it and a tag, and it told you what the count was and what the size was. She had some 2-packs of that, and this 2-pack, to me, this looks, and these are, I think these are 56. These, this one looks like an Ashley Down to me, so I went ahead and got that. Yeah, I like that. It's hard to maybe see really what it looks like with all those folds there, but I just want to get all this stuff put away. I can feel my throat getting worse, but you know, even I was talking to Ryan about doing this recording today, and he was like, well, why don't you put it off a day? Maybe you'll feel better tomorrow. I was like, there's no guarantee I'm going to feel better tomorrow, and I want to get all this stuff put away, and I can't put it away until I show it on Flosstube. And this, oh, look at that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I loved it. Very moody. And she had, you know, just like this color with that color, and you just kind of dig through, because like if I had seen that 2-pack and I thought, well, I like this color, but I don't like that color, I could have dug through and probably found the color I wanted with a different color that I really liked. But that 2-pack worked for me. Okay, this is a big piece of 46 count. This is Ashley Down. And this will get me many, many samplers. I don't know if this is a fat quarter or a fat half? This feels like a nice big piece of linen, so I'm gonna say this is a fat half. But just beautiful modeling on that. So I'll definitely be using this for a sampler soon. And then another piece that I got, another piece of 46 that I got, also rather large, but just a mystery linen. Doesn't have a name. Anything that didn't have a name, she just called limited edition. Because I think a lot of times it's like, well, you're aiming for a color, but it didn't quite turn out how you wanted. It can't fit within the regular catalog, but it's a happy accident. So she had all these colors that were limited edition, and you just, if you can think of something to put on it. I like this. It's kind of a golden brown, I like brown sugar, but I like that. And that's 46, a nice big piece of 46. And this feels like 46 as well. This also looks, maybe this is Ashley Down. Maybe this is Ashley Down and that other thing was limited edition. I don't know. I took the tags off of everything because I'm going to iron these pieces and then tag them myself and hang them up in my closet with my other linens. So I did make sure to take pictures of all the tags with the particular linens, but I just took them off here. This is, I want to say 46, but it might be a 40. I need to count it. But look at that. It's yummy. So again, this is just a limited edition. Doesn't have a name. I liked it, so I bought it. A couple other, I liked it, so I bought it. This is a nice pinky fabric, pinky red fabric. I saw Brenda with it, and I said, oh, I love that. And she said, yeah, I'm going to use it for the pears. And I said, it actually looks like red pears, you know, like actual red pears. This is a nice color. Again, I don't know if this is 40 or 46. I don't remember which part of the table I snagged it from. I think it was kind of right on the line. So it might be 40, it might be 46. I didn't really care. I can count it to make sure, you know, if I'm really curious, but I will likely use, if I stitch the pairs on this, I can, whether it's 40 or 46, I can use 103s. I also thought it would be really good for Stacey Nash's Animal Cracker Mouse that she has as an exclusive for the Jingle Ball. Another, I liked it, so I bought it, was this. And I was standing next to Julie as we were digging through linens here, and she said, that's a nice cornflower. And I think she's exactly right. It's cornflower. It's gorgeous. I don't know what to do with it, but I'm gonna find something. I love the color. This is a 46 or a 40 count. This is a 40 count. It was in a big bin, a 40 count. I'd say that's showing pretty true. This is the only piece of needle and flax linen I was able to get. This is Fragile. I think this is a fat half, so I've got plenty to work with. It's a nice gray color, very nice light stone cloud gray, whatever you want to call it, but very soft. And I thought it would be great for many samplers to come. I mean, a fat half, I will easily fit 3 or 4 on that. The last piece of linen that I got was something that I had pre-ordered from Michelle. This is 1 yard of 46 count lichen. So I'm gonna split this with 2 people because this is the called for fabric for the Maria Wales Newson sampler from Hands Across the Sea. If you are not in the Friends of Hands Across the Sea samplers group on Facebook, you should absolutely join if you're on Facebook, because there will be a stitch along for Maria Wales Newson, the larger sampler. There are 2 by that same young woman, and the larger of the 2. There will be a stitch along hosted by Judy, who's actually at the retreat, and it's starting on January 1st. You don't have to use this fabric. You can use whatever fabric you like, but I went ahead and pre-ordered this from Michelle so I could make sure that I got it. Okay, now I realize that I'm missing a chart here. I wonder if it's still in the... I'm gonna pop out to the dining room and grab the chart that I know I forgot and get some more tea. All right, kettle's on the stove. I got the chart. Go ahead and show you what I got. Nicola had some new charts that were available for attendees to purchase. I am sure these will be available to everyone at a later date, but they are not on the Hats website as of yet, as of yesterday when I checked, just to make sure. The first one that I grabbed was Emma Wright. I think Nicola has shown this on a Flosstube episode. She certainly showed her progress when she was, I don't know, halfway through or something. But I love how colorful this one is, and she had the models for all of these there. This one is very colorful, very small, petite, just so cute and bright. I started to kit these up. I didn't even bother pulling from stash because I know I've got some holes in my stash. So I was going on to Hoop and Frame and adding things to cart. There is a slight issue with the list here on the back, but I sent Nicola an email and she has addressed it in the Facebook group, the Swindon Facebook group. She put basically a new back here. She put that image on the Facebook group. So if you've seen it, you are aware, but I saved that photo. I'll go ahead and insert it here. So if you want to take a screenshot, it'll just make kitting Emma up that much easier. I think all of the numbers are used, but some of them are in the wrong spot. So just so you are aware of that, if you have been trying to kit her up and you want to get Emma started soon, it's good that you know that there is just a little something off. I purchased Margaret Hutton, and this is another really bright, colorful one. It is 160 by 234, so not overly large. And on 46 count, for example, it'd be 7 by 10 and a bit. So good size. And then let's see, Emma Wright. When I say small, the model was stitched on 56 count, I believe. But looking at 46 count, it's about 7 by 5.5. And on 56 should be 5.5 by 4.5. It's a pretty good size pillow if I wanted to stitch that on 56 count. I'm not sure. I might want to stitch it on 46 count and get it framed. It's super cute. The last one I purchased, and we knew ahead of time that this one was going to be available because Nicola did say that. This is Charlotte Mash 1830. This is the one that Nicola stitched in the painter's thread, the over-dyed 103s. So it looks black here in the image, but it's actually a variegated black green. The color is Waterhouse that she used. And this is 212 by 267 on 46 count. It would be 9 1/4 by 11 1/2. This one has cross stitch, over 1, 4-sided stitch, and Algerian eyelets. And the model was stitched on Overcast by Cedar River Linen. This model was stitched on Sleeping Bear by Needle and Flax. And Margaret Hutton was stitched on Muddy Duck by Tabby Cat Linen. So I bet, you know what, I realize this is very Muddy Duck. It doesn't look this dark in the photo, but I promise you it's dark. So I think those wild bright colors would look really nice on this. And this one has a bunch of specialty stitches. It has cross stitch over 2, cross stitch over 1, alternating double back stitch, rice stitch, 4-sided stitch, Algerian eyelets, double running stitch, and queen stitch. Lots to keep you busy there. I'm excited about that. I'm also excited because our retreat project, Jane Backhouse, you will know this already if you watched Sean's epic recap. Our retreat project has a lot of specialty stitches as well. Okay, so that is what I purchased. I think next, do I want to do gifts or talk about the retreat? Maybe I'll go over real quick the retreat, and then I'll get to gifts, and then also a little bit of, oh, you hear it whistling? I'll be right back. Oh, all right, I've got my tea. It's very hot though, so I have to wait on that. So I showed you the charts that I purchased. Yes, and we were moving into what the retreat was all about. Okay, Nicola and Sue spoiled us, period. Everybody got a Winterbury case. It's gorgeous. This is a, so Winterbury cases are leather stitchy cases that are available through Hobby House. And they first, when they came out, they were only available in this like really tall size, and they just came in, I think, navy and red. And since that first debut, 2-3 years ago at this point or something, they've come out with several other colors. And in the Christmas mystery box that Hobby House offered last, I think, October or November, they made it available. They included a tartan one, which was really cool, and I do have that. And if you're interested in getting their Christmas mystery, I'm so tired and I'm like struggling to get the words out here. But if you're interested in this year's mystery Christmas box, they still have it available on the website. It has not sold out, and you can pick your count of fabric. They have Ada as available, and then everything up to 56 count. And you get a Winterbury case in that little box. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what color it is. And I haven't actually ordered it. And I don't know that I will, because now I have this one. I thought how nice that they gave us this Winterbury case, because I know many people in that room already had at least one Winterbury case, myself included. But for those of us who already have them and love them, we won't say no to another one. And then for the people who didn't have one yet, what an amazing retreat gift. Not only though did we get this larger case, but we got the little purse as well, and had some supplies in it that we used throughout the weekend during our classes, lectures, whatever. We also were given some floss drops, and a skein of Soie d'Alger. I went ahead and what I did with this Soie d'Alger, we needed to use this for a class project, and what I did was I opened up the skein, and then I like held it up, got it in half again, until I got what was approximately a good, I didn't even know how long it was, but a good length to work with. So this is, I'm sure, longer than most people would want to use, but it worked out for me. A little pack of needles. So cute. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say about this Winterbury set here is that this color combination, Nicola made it very clear that this color combination is exclusive to that retreat. So this won't be released. You don't have to, you know, keep on Hobby House's website. It's just not going to be released, this color combination. But it's gorgeous. And the thing that I wanted to show you guys, I could not believe it, but I had commissioned a stitchy mat from Nicole Patterson, and I will link her below. And I sent some fabric from the Mansfield Park collection by Riley Blake. And this is what she made. And then look at this. I could not believe it. It's like I planned it. I was sending pictures to friends going, look at this, it matches. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So Nicole, thank you so much for making this beautiful mat. It goes with a project bag I have, and then it goes with the ultimate travel bag that I commissioned from Apoon. I will link Apoon below as well. She's got. Also in here, I've got a bunch of floss drops because I brought floss drops to give to people, and then I was also given some floss drops. These were the floss drops that I brought as gifts. I was so thrilled because I brought about 60 packs of these things, and I only brought 2 home. Yeah. And then this is a pin that Nicola gave us. It says Mrs. Parkman's Academy of Needlework. It looks like a little prefect badge. That's cute. And then this is a Minnie McBeans needle minder that I was given by Sue because it was my birthday on Sunday. So Sue gave me this needle minder as well as another frippery, and then Nicola gave me a pack of cards, which was awesome because I actually didn't buy any cards. And I mean, no cards with envelopes, those kind of cards. So major gift right off the bat. We started with that on Friday evening. Everybody had one of those at their place setting, and they also had this bag that was sort of draped over it. So when you go into the room, you just saw all these bags sort of draped over some sort of mound at every place setting, and then you lift it up, and that's what you saw. It was great. This is a very nice sturdy bag with a zip top. I love tote bags, but I have a ton of them, and so I try not to buy them when I go places. But I will say a big thank you to Nicola and Sue for providing us with this, because actually I did have to check my suitcase on the way home and then carry my ultimate travel bag, which is a big duffel, and then I had that bag filled up. So it was nice to have something with a zip top, because I did bring a canvas shopping bag with me, and that's kind of what I used throughout the weekend to just carry stuff from my hotel room downstairs, back and forth, all that jazz. But it was nice going home to have that canvas bag with the zip top. Okay, so Thursday, that was first thing. And then, oh, okay, so I'm consulting my notes here, and I put in my notes, what I did was I went through the order of events, but I also kind of added in the people as I met them. So I guess I will do that instead of going through all this stuff. Actually, one of the first people that I met, I should go backwards here, was Leslie. Hi, Leslie. And she and I had been communicating online because she reached out saying that she had some charts from the first red box, and would I be interested? Yeah, I would. So she gifted me several things, and I think we ran into each other. Did we run into each other Wednesday evening and then saw each other again Thursday morning, or was it just Thursday morning? I think it was Thursday morning that I saw her and she introduced herself. So it was very nice to talk to her. And I saw her a couple other times throughout the weekend. But then before we left on Monday morning, I say we because I traveled back to London with Laura. Before we left for London on Monday morning, I got to sit and chat with Leslie some more. So Leslie gave me several things. She gave me several charts. I will show you what she gave me, but the first thing I want to show you is this one because I've already started it. So this is a little bit of actual stitching I'll show you. This is Fanny Hussey, 1882. This is in the first red box that Nicola put out, the Letters from Europe box. And is this still hot? Good. Okay, so this is one of the charts that Leslie gave me. I had some 56 count creme brulee. So I started this on Tuesday. Today is Thursday, and this is how far I've gotten. I've gotten the border almost completely finished, and then I just have a couple lines to do, and then she's done. So I have a couple other small red samplers that I'm going to send off to Faye. I was planning on sending this one, Dinah Disney, to my framer because I really wanted it framed, and I actually still kind of want it framed, but I was considering sending it to Faye and then have this collection of small little red samplers and pillows. I've already got a few, but I just think those would look nice together. So I am stitching Fanny with the called for $4.99, which is the color of the 103 silk that I'm using, and I'm stitching it on a creme brulee, if I didn't say that already, 56 count. And this hoop, because a million people are going to ask, this is a Hardwicke Manor hoop. You can get them at Hoop and Frame. I know they're sold out a lot. keep checking back, and also ask your local needlework shop, or check Hobby House or the attic or wherever you like to shop. So thank you, Leslie. I've already got so much progress on that. I want to start another one that she gave me, but I feel like I should wait and just finish that up because I've only got a couple days left on it. Leslie gave me, this is also from the first Words of Wisdom box. Words of Wisdom. It's not Words of Wisdom. The first box was Letters from Europe, and then it was Words of Wisdom, and then it was All Things Bright and Beautiful. This is from, like Fanny Hussey, from the Letters from Europe box. This is Brigida Bezzoli, 1871. And this, the stitch count on this one is quite a bit larger. This is 293 by 163. So that one will take some time and dedication. But this little thing, this is Honora Maxwell. And just so you know, this and Fanny Hussey are exclusives to that box. They will not be released in the future. And this one was given to attendees at a retreat, I believe. I don't know the retreat, and I don't know if it's going to be released at a later date. This is Honora Maxwell, 1862. Stitch count on this is, well, it's not very big. It can't be. Where is it? Oh, 136 by 113. So pretty small. On 56 count, it would be not even 5 by 4. On 46 count, it would be 6 by 5. So pretty good size. Very cute. And the last thing that she gave me was this Esther Benson. This is an exclusive to Sassy Jacks. And it's big and weird, but really cool. So this is one that I was considering purchasing, and I didn't. And she sent me a photo of some things that she had and was willing to let go. And I was like, I'll take that one. It's got a lot of over 1 letters, which I like. And mostly blues, aquas, and yellows, and there's a little bit of purple up top. And the stitch count is 223 by 447, so it's a big girl. So I'm not going to be getting to this anytime soon. And then Leslie very graciously has earmarked another chart for me when she finishes it. She was working on Mathilde, which is the French sampler from Letters from Europe box, and she said she's going to give me that when she's done too, which is so nice. This tea is really good. I have to say thank you to Stacy. Stacy, could not believe I saw her. Stacy, I don't even know your last name. This is how it goes. Yeah, and I don't have it either. I need to try to get a hold of her. Stacy, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I went to Hobby House for Nicola's retreat there last October, I ended up having dinner the first night, me and Laura and Jody and a couple other people and this young woman, Stacy, and she was great. And I saw her maybe the next day, but didn't really get to talk to her, and then she just wasn't there. And so when I saw her this past weekend, I think it must have been Friday evening or Saturday morning or something, I saw her and I was like, Stacy? She was like, hi. And so I got the story from her. It was, you know, crap happens, life happens, all that stuff. So what happened is she hadn't been able to finish that retreat. She had to leave early, which was a bummer for her in many ways. But she was here for this one. We chatted for a bit, and she gave me she gave me a little gifty. She gave me a skein of Soie d'Alger, a spool of 103s. There's a chocolate in here. I've got some needles, and then she gave me 2 bags of Fortnum & Mason tea. So this is my second. They're all gone now. That's the thing. I go into Fortnum & Mason, and I want it all. And I tell myself, you know, you can order all this online. You just need to do that. And then do I ever order it online? No, I don't need to. But I like a good black tea, and that Royal Blend is very good, so thank you. All right, where am I going next? I'm showing you retreat gifts and projects. Oh, I'm talking about gifts. That's what I'm talking about. So I talked about Leslie. Check that box. Okay. And then I met a young woman, Lola, who came up and introduced herself. And I say young. She was young. I think she attends university. But she's there having a great time, by the way. That girl knows how to shop, I tell you that. But she gifted me. She bought so many things for Minnie McBeans. I'm so proud of her. I was like, did you leave anything for anybody else? But she gifted me two of these mini McBeans charms. So this one has two little butterflies and a teardrop, and then this one has two stars or flowers, whatever you want to call them, with this little spray on the bottom. Oh, so cute. So cute. And I got another one of those from my friend Georgia, who just spoiled me the whole weekend. But Georgia, I put yours on my favorite scissors. Look at that. Okay, we need it to focus. Look at that. It's a bumblebee and it's pink. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Yes, these are my favorite scissors. And I had gotten those charms from Lola and put those on first thing. And then Georgia gave me this one and I was like, oh, where am I gonna put it? Because I want to see it. And then I thought, my favorite scissors are naked. Well, they are naked no more. And then Jules Darling, came over and introduced herself, and I may have screamed. And I definitely gave her a big hug. I know I did that. And we had, I feel, really good conversations throughout the weekend. And at one point we kind of got onto not a very fun subject, but something that we were both interested in talking about. And at one point she says, I'm sorry, I'm just bringing this down. And I said, no, I mean, it's fun to talk about fun stitchy stuff, and isn't that great and light and wonderful, but it's also fun to talk about other important things that are going on in our lives with a like-minded individual. And in that way, it was nice, it was comforting, not necessarily something like things that you expected to talk about at a stitchy event, but it was really nice talking to her. She's very well-spoken and intelligent and fun and so kind. And she gave me a piece of, well, it's handcrafted, and I want to say ceramics, and I want to get this information right. She gave me this little pot, cup, whatever you may want to call it, and it is handmade and hand-painted ceramic. It's inspired by geometric motifs used to decorate hand-loomed carpets from Albania and Kosovo regions. So Julie does live in Eastern Europe. And so I think she just wanted, she wanted to bring a gift for a few people that sort of represents her area. And I just love it. And I told her this whole story about one of my favorite souvenirs from trips with Ryan is this weird Greek pot that we got in Athens because we heard some guy speaking with an Australian accent. We're like, we need to go talk to him. And then he's got the shop and there's this whole thing. And so this I have put in my bookcase with that piece from Greece. Now the bottom is stamped and it says DHE. It has a little accent over it. Now I asked Julie though, and she says, yeah, DHE, but it's pronounced the, like THE, and it means earth in Albanian. Yes, because she said that region people speak Albanian. Okay, so I want to say a big thank you to Julie. I love this, I treasure it. And I will show you, I will link their Instagram below. They don't have an online shop. You won't be able to just order things from them. But, Julie talked me into planning a trip to Kosovo and Albania. And then I talked to Ryan about this when I got home, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. Can we go to Croatia too? And I was like, fine, whatever you want, whatever you want. So if and when we go, I need to bring an empty suitcase and some packing material so I can get this stuff home. So I will link Julie's Flosstube below. You can also find her on Instagram at Jules Darling. It's got 3 S's. Also on Thursday night, I got, I'll say, dragged along to dinner. It was wonderful though. I had talked to Laura about this. I was like, do we have dinner plans on Thursday? She was like, yeah, we have dinner plans and you're coming. And I was like, great. We ended up going to this place, Mario's. Oh, earlier on Thursday, I got to meet Sean Periwinkle Stitcher. As advertised, absolutely wonderful, great human, 10 out of 10. Love her. And Laura and Brenda, so I don't even know how these plans were made. I was just very lucky to be brought along. So the whole dinner at this place called Mario's in Swindon consisted of me and Brenda and Laura, Sean and her friend Britta, who you've heard Sean talk about on her own channel, and holy crap, I love Britta. Oh, she's great. And she swears a lot. She's so funny. She carted us from the hotel to this place, Mario's. We had no idea where we were going. She didn't even know where she was going. She didn't use GPS, and we're all like going down these tiny little streets, and where are we going? But she was a hoot. So she was at the dinner, as well as Sally, Humble Bumble Stitcher. Just wait until Brenda and Laura do their video, and you get to see what Sally made for Brenda and Laura. Oh my goodness. But Sally was very kind and gifted everybody at the dinner a small something. This is what she gave me. And I'm going to just put these in my little tray with my Christmas smalls when I put that display out. So Sally gave me those at dinner. It was very sweet of her. That dinner was tons of fun. So it was those, you know, those 5 people plus me on one side of the table, and then the other, there was kind of a divider between the tables. And then on the other side, it was Brendan and Karen Kirk from Fox and Rabbit, and then a woman named Carrie, who's from the US, but I don't really know much about her. And then a few other people that I didn't really get to talk to that evening because I was way on the far end here. So it was across from Brenda, Laura, and then Sean, and then Sally and Britta. But we had a great time. It was wonderful. And the food was really good. It was really good. It was Italian and seemed pretty, I told Ryan, it reminded me of this Italian restaurant that we went to in Paris one time, which was really good. And I don't remember the name of it. I just remember it was across from a Louboutin store. And they had really good, what was that dish? Why can I not think of it? It's just like pasta with meat sauce. There's a word for it. Bolognese. Oh my gosh. Bolognese. But this time I say this time, this was the only time I went to Mario's. I got penne alla arrabbiata because I've seen Death Star Canteen like 17 times and I thought this was hilarious. It was really good though, and they had a very good cheesy garlic bread as well. So if you go to Mario's in Swindon, I recommend the cheesy garlic bread. But tons of fun at that dinner. We were there for over 2 hours, and at a certain point, you know, we're wrapping up with the food. We're kind of waiting on the check and everything. And I was like, can we please go back to the hotel? And Brenda's like, all right, we need to get Audrey back. She's crashing. It was very funny. So then Friday, there were plenty of people taking classes. There were optional classes that you could take ahead of the event on both Thursday and Friday. I opted actually just to withdraw from the 2 classes that I had been enrolled in because I didn't do the homework. And Laura and I had talked about going to Whitney Antiques, but we didn't even do that. We just stayed at the hotel and hung out with people and stitched, and it was great. So on Friday, like early afternoonish, well, Friday, oh yeah, okay, this is what I was looking for. So Friday, I went downstairs and got breakfast. And how the food was set up is that you could go through a buffet line in the kitchen and then you just sit somewhere in the restaurant where there's room. So Friday morning, I went downstairs and I got breakfast, and then I sat at an open table, and then 2 ladies, Beth and Linda, joined me. And that was tons of fun. We just chatted about all sorts of things. I know that we talked about Lucy Navier for quite a time because we were talking about all those darn French knots. And I think it was Beth who had completed Lucy Navier, and she said it was up on her wall and she just loves it. It's like, I cannot imagine how many thousands of French knots she did. But that was a fun breakfast. And then I met up with Laura. She came a little bit later, but I went back to the restaurant and like sat with her while she ate her breakfast, and maybe I had something else. And then we went upstairs. There was a little stitching area, well, like some seating in this common area that was outside the rooms that were being used for the classes, like the smaller classes, the optional classes. And Laura and I were sitting there with Karen and Melanie, who turned out to be at my table throughout the event, which was great. I had met them last year at a hobby house, so it was nice to see some familiar faces, so we kind of hung out. And then Steph, Late Girl Stitches, she joined us with her friend Laura that she came with. So Laura, Steph, Karen, Melanie, me, Laura, duet. And then Sean shows up. She gets done with one of her classes. And she's talking about going over to Greg's, which is just this little, it's kind of like a Dunkin', like they have breakfast things and they have coffee and sodas, things like that. And she's talking about going over to get something from Greg's. And she asked me, well, have you had breakfast yet? And I said, yeah, I could have another breakfast. So off for breakfast number 3, went over to Greg's and I got a croissant and I got a juice, I think it was, and it was really good. And Sean and I just sat and chatted for a bit. It was lovely. So much fun. So then we go back to the hotel, and like it really is in the parking lot, this place, Greg's. Go back over to the hotel and just kind of stitched for the rest of the afternoon, and then probably an hour and a half before the event room opened up, I went back to my hotel room and kind of got myself together, got ready for it. There was a mad rush to get a seat in the room. There's no assigned seating, and I got a great space. I wanted to sit with Julie. We got separated, but I could see her throughout the event across the room, and I saw her smiling and laughing a lot. So I was like, she's okay, and I'm okay. I had a great table. So my table ended up being, it was a table of 9. Everybody was at a table of 9, and I had Cindy here, who was from Indianapolis, of all places. And Cindy's table gift was this cute little suitcase. I've seen these suitcases before, but it's funny to see them in person. And I got this open, and yeah, it just opens like that. I'm sure now that I've shown this, I'm sure one of the kids is gonna want this thing. But like it even, and she made this brooch and did the embroidery on it. And then she gave us a strawberry, a tomato, and then her information is in here as well. So I'll go ahead and share that as well. I don't think her Instagram is private, but you can find Cindy Bannon, and she's from Indianapolis. It's so funny. She's like, do you ever go to Always in Stitches? I was like, yeah. So it's funny that we haven't run into each other yet. Okay. Cindy, and then next to Cindy was Sean. Okay, I've shown that. And Sean's little gifty, she gave floss drops. Here, she gave floss drops. So cute. So I'm gonna have to punch some holes in these. That's her little Maggie May. She brought a stitchy box with her with a bunch of animal crackers and other things that she had made, some Stacey Nash items, and it was just beautiful. I took a photo, I'm pretty sure. So if I have it, I will insert that here. But she gave me a bunch of floss drops, very nice. If you should be following Sean. Periwinkle Stitcher, there's her information. And then next to Sean was her friend Britta. Britta gave us, she had a basket full of little things like this, and you just grabbed one. And so this little sachet is full of lavender from her garden. And then she has these little thimbles that are stuffed, and this is vintage linen. It's got some little pins and some buttons in it. So cute. Thank you, Britta. She was a hoot. She was so much fun, and she really took care of us this weekend. Okay, and then next to Britta was Benta, and Benta gave us this whole big pack of stuff. It has all sorts of things. It has thread bed, it has a little notebook, it has a couple skeins of DNC, some scissors, which is good because poor Georgia lost her scissors the first day. So that's not great. So thank you, Benta. She really set us up. And then Georgia, as I say. So Georgia, she gave awesome table gifts, but she really spoiled me. She stitched a little A and a little M. I'm gonna pull these out. And I saw her on, I think it must have been Wednesday evening. I saw her, and I saw that she was wearing this set, and of course hers said G on one and O on the other for Georgia O'Brien. And I was looking at it going, oh my gosh, I can't believe she stitched those. They're so tiny. And then she gives me this box. I open it up in the hotel room that night, and that's what's in there. Thank you, Georgia. And then also, she stitched this. This is so tiny. She must have used Swatch-Your-Fiend because the stitches are minuscule. Thank you, dear. Oh my goodness, you see how red my nose is? I had a sneezing attack. All right, talking about my friend Georgia. You should follow Georgia on Instagram. I believe she is GM O'Brien. I'm pretty sure I can remember that handle correctly. Georgia is a monogamous sampler stitcher. So start to finish, she will stitch a very large sampler. I think one of her most recent finishes, I don't know if it is her most recent finish, is Anton Ufendel. And we talked about that this past weekend and how she got to a certain point and she was like, I just want to get this thing done. And she was, I guess, working on it like day and night, just want to finish this thing. And she has a very beautiful product. Not only that, but she also, so she gave me this box, this red box, and then she filled it with these goodies. And then also in there was this tin. I mean, some items were in the tin. I have since like pulled everything out. And then she also gave me this. I guess I could have put this on my scissors, but I like the sparkly on the scissors. So I'm gonna have to find another place for this. This would be good to go on a project that holds a red sampler, actually. I think I'll do that. And then the other thing that Georgia gave me, I think there's a piece of chocolate in there too, but I ate that. I ate that. And this pin. And I know at least one day throughout the weekend, Georgia was wearing this on, I think she was wearing it on the vest that she had. I like that vest. I've bookmarked it, but very creative. I can't imagine how much time she put into making all this stuff, but very appreciative to you, Georgia. And Georgia, I think I'll get to see her. I think I'll get to see her at a retreat next year, but then also she invited me to something else. And I'm like, well, it's in May. And we're always, I shouldn't say we are really busy in May. Ryan's really busy in May. Maybe I could leave for a few days and he wouldn't notice. May for an IndyCar anything, you know, a person who works in the IndyCar series, the month of May is super busy. So then next to Georgia was Melanie, and Melanie and her friend Karen, they had met randomly at an event years ago because I guess Melanie lost her phone or something and then just happened to see Karen and was like, can I borrow your phone? And they've been friends ever since, which I really like. That's such a nice meet cute. So they were there, and as I say, I met them at Hobby House last year. I'm pretty sure that's where I met them. And it was nice to have familiar faces at the table. And then next to Karen and me was Bridget, and Bridget is from Canada. This is Bridget Peacock, and she gave us a little Canada charm and a Canada pencil, and then she also made her table mates one of these giant tomatoes. This thing was so big, and I shoved it in the suitcase, and I was like, please don't pop, please don't pop. It survived. It made it home. Like cute little button on top, and then she put another button on the bottom. Yeah, so cute. And then I think she filled this with walnut shells, and there's maybe some plush stuffing on top, but very nicely made. Back real quick to the dinner at Mario's. Sally gave everybody those little wooden things, the little decor pieces, but then also there was a woman there, Jill, who I did talk to a little bit at the end. Like, some people kind of swapped seats after we were done eating. And Jill is Pink Moon Gazing Hair on Instagram. And she had a basket full of these finishing trims. And so we all got to pick one. I thought this was a nice collection of colors. I figured I can send these to Faye. I'm not gonna use them, but very nice. Thank you, Jill. So as I say, that's her handle on Instagram if you want to give her a follow. Yeah, everybody had like, and no gift was the same. That's the thing. Like, everybody had something a little different, except I only gave floss drops because I thought about all these different things that I could do. And I thought, you know, what's going to happen is we're all going to overbuy and not have enough room. So I'm not going to be responsible for overfilling anybody's bag. So I had plenty of floss drops for my table mates and some other friends. And then anytime anybody came up to me to introduce themselves, to say anything nice about my Flosstube channel, I really appreciate it. I had floss drops to give them. And then, like Girl Stitches. Steph, like Girl Stitches. We were not at the same table, but almost as good, because she was at the table right there. And she was sitting right there. So throughout the weekend, we could just like turn and talk to each other. She made these patches on one of her sewing machines. So this is machine embroidery. The peacocks look like they're cross stitched because they're all X's. And then this says Swindon 2025. So I saw her on, it must have been Thursday. I saw her and she was like, oh my gosh, did you bring your denim jacket? I was like, nope. Oops. So I think Sean had her denim jacket and Steph had her denim jacket. I did not have my denim jacket. But Steph's was cool. I should have taken a better look at her jacket, because she had all the stuff that she had done to it. She had cross-stitched a huge S on, I think it was one of the arms, and then she had this patch, of course. So whatever kind of backing she put on this thing, she says, remove paper and steam iron for 20 seconds, and then it'll stick to whatever. So you guys have seen in past videos, I wear this blue denim jacket. I also have a white denim jacket, but it has some like yellowing on it, and I bleached it a couple times, and whatever that yellow is, I can't get it out. So I think actually I would like to dye it kind of a wild color, and then I can put things like this on it and maybe do some stitching. And then I have some printed fabric panels that I bought because I thought I was going to do some slow stitching, and actually it would be kind of cool to kind of mess up a jacket. And so it was nice to talk to Steph, and I got to see her a little bit throughout the weekend, but it was nice to have her right there, and we got to chat. And then also at Steph's table was Kathy Decker, who I got to meet. When did I meet you, Kathy? So I know I saw you at Hobby House last October, but we barely talked to each other. It was so hard to maneuver around that room. We were packed in so tightly. And then I did get to see Kathy and have lunch with her this summer, because she lives in Wisconsin. So when Ryan and the kids and I went to Elkhart Lake, Kathy and I arranged it so that we could get together and have lunch one day, and we did, and we had pizza, and it was so good. And then this weekend, I talked to Kathy a couple times. She came over and showed me a crochet book that she bought, because it was all characters from Wallace and Gromit. It was so great. And you guys, if you don't know, I really love Wallace and Gromit. This is Gromit in his little airplane. Remember when he was like using the porridge? Yeah. And Kathy made this. She stitched that over one, Mrs. Parkman's Academy 2025. And then she made this notebook cover. And I'm sure she designed this herself with the little loop for the pencil. And she gave us the pencil. So I don't know how many of these she made. I bet this was for table gift, but she had one for me, and I think a couple other people got them. So thank you so much, Kathy. This was great, because I did actually bring this notebook. This is just a Moleskine. This is what I used to take notes throughout the weekend, so I could remember who I met and what we did and who I had dinner with and all that jazz. But it's nice to have a pretty cover for it. So this will go to my extra treat. And it's really nice because when I fill up the notebook, I can easily take it out and put a new one in. And Kathy also gave me this. It's got a little fob in it, and there was a chocolate, but that is gone. You know, things happen. I ate a lot of chocolate this past weekend. And this is from Marie. I'm pretty sure this is from Marie. Marie, she introduced herself. We were at the linen table one time, and she was I was just looking over things, and she's like, are you organizing everything and you're monitoring the table? It's like, no, I'm just looking to see what I want to buy. But Marie gave me some candy and some beeswax. The candy was some Haribo stuff, so I pulled that out, and the kids get that, and I managed to bring them home some chocolate. I didn't eat every piece of chocolate that was given to me, so good job, Audrey. Good job. And then I got a couple cards. So this is a birthday card from Sue Sayer, Knitter and Stitcher on Instagram. She says, happy birthday, Audrey. And it has, I'll show you, a really strong needle minder. Really, I mean, I can barely, here we go. Very strong needle minder. And she got this from Northumberland Sampler House, and I looked up the chart, and they do have, like, they have photos of this antique, which is what this is, but they also have a photo of the model that was stitched, and it's really cool. So found them on Etsy, and I favorited that. So that's on my wish list. But thank you so much, Sue. Thank you. That was very kind. And Sylvia came up and introduced herself. I think it was like Thursday or Friday that she came over and said hello. I think it must have been Friday because I remember we were already like sat at our tables. But then I saw her later in the weekend and she gave me a little card that there we go. I was gonna say, I can't get it out of the envelope. But she gave me a little card and just said thank you for the videos and she really enjoys watching them. And then she included some chocolates, which I did not eat. Brought them home for the boys, like she said to. And she included this Elizabeth Harbor Designs. And what's funny is I pulled this out of the little package and I thought, oh my goodness, I already have Elizabeth Harbor piece because I can tell the design is the same as something that Laura gave me a couple Christmases ago. And she gave me Laura gave me like a little angel. She looks like a little dancer, little ballerina angel. And this is a cute little house. I think she gave Sean one that's like a boy riding a pig, which I love. It's so funny. So funny. But I also like the house. So that's gonna, I think I'm gonna put that in the cabinet. I was thinking about putting it in with my Christmas decor, but if I do that, then I only see it at Christmas time. Which, by the way, I was totally right, and Ryan's already talking about putting up the Christmas tree. And he's like, but it's not real. We can put it up anytime. Saturday, I went downstairs, got breakfast from the buffet line, and then I actually found a space at a table with Kathleen Littleton. So I talked to her for a little bit. She was already like finishing up her breakfast, but she stayed and chatted for a while, which was very nice. And I don't think she realizes, but she gave me like the nicest compliment. She told me that she really enjoys watching my videos, which was nice in itself. But she said, you don't care. And I started laughing. I thought this was so funny. But she said, no, you're just yourself. And I thought that was nice. It was a very lovely compliment because honestly, when you do these videos, it would take way too much effort to try to like button yourself up and rein in your own personality. And I just come on here and I am definitely myself. And it's nice that that's appreciated and recognized. And it's nice that people like these videos and keep coming back to watch them. And first thing, Kathleen, I saw her on Thursday morning and just kind of said hi. She was sitting with a bunch of other people and stitching and chatting and stuff, so I didn't butt into that, but I did like run back and I was like, wait, Kathleen, I sent Eliza Townsend to the framer. So when I get Eliza back from the framer, which hopefully will be before the end of the year, I'm gonna send her some photos because I'm excited to get that one framed. Yeah, that was my birthday start last year, and then this year my birthday start, which I won't even bother showing you guys because I think I got 5 stitches into it. I did start it over there, check that box, but I got hardly anything on it. All right, so Saturday morning I had breakfast with Kathleen Littleton, and there were some other people we were chatting with. Okay, that's when Stacy came over and said hi, and she gave me the threads and needles and tea. Oh, and then our stuff from Nicola and Sue that day. When we walked into the big event room, we were told the night before, you got to take all your stuff with you because we need room on the tables for new stuff in the morning. And sure enough, the next day we had we had this at our table. This is Needlework Specimen book. So the idea is that you will, we also had this. The idea is that you will create your own specimen book with different little examples of work and stitching. Like this is actually in a real antique specimen book, and this is a miniature night dress, and the reason why it was made was to illustrate the different stitching. So you can do, you use stitches to gather and make pleats, and then also to embellish. So Nicola's idea was that we would get a specimen book like this, and you'll notice that there really aren't very many pages, but the rings are very large, and that is because you're supposed to stitch some examples of different things, and then secure them onto the pages, just as Maud and many other girls would have done. And I'll insert some photos along the way, because I did take a bunch of photos. But so darning stitches, other decorative stitches, things like this. And this is one of my favorite things that we got throughout the weekend. This is a beautiful album. It's printed on high quality paper. The images are extremely high resolution. I just love it. But then besides that, we did get a book that has a chart in it. So Maud Newman's 1893 stitching from the Haberdasher School in London. So this is the piece that Nicola has. These are some other examples that are very similar to Maud's, showing a variety of back stitches, buttonholes, there's an eyelet, and then feather stitch. So I did follow the chart. I still need to fill in some French knots here on the triple feather stitch, this big zigzag on the bottom. There's supposed to be some French knots, you know, zigzagging through there. And then I need to stitch the chain stitch. I need to do the feather stitch that goes around the border. And then I'm supposed to hem it, because you're supposed to hem it and then secure it within your specimen book. But this was stitched on 36 count raw linen from Zweigart, and it's done with Soie d'Alger in 29.25. I would like to do this over on 46 count with 103, and then put my name on it, because it's going to be in my specimen book. So just as Maud had been working off of a template and then put her name on it, I would like to do this myself. So what I plan to do, not this year, because I'm just trying to focus on finishing up some other samplers, but I think next year and into 2027 is to actually put a number of specimens in my own specimen book. So I will restitch this on 46 count with 103s, and I'll put my name on it. And then what I would like to do is to take stitches, make little patches that, oh, you guys, I'm struggling. Okay. There are darning samplers like M. Nanquin and Amelia Brown. Amelia Brown hasn't been released, so that's a terrible example, but M. Nanquin is available on the Hands Across the Sea website. And I know that has, I think, 5 darning styles, stitches on the bottom. I don't even know what I'm saying. So I would like to stitch those, and then also the same darning stitches out of Amelia Brown. And then if you guys have suggestions for other darning samplers, because I think it would be cool to do this and to make my own little specimen booklet. And then to add, you're supposed to add descriptions and stuff and put titles on things. And I gotta say, I think the reason that this is one of my favorite things that we received this weekend is because you can see, I think it must be Maud's handwriting, absolutely gorgeous handwriting. And for those of you who don't know, I worked as a calligrapher for about a decade, for mostly brides. I would, address their envelopes for their wedding invitations. And I've done, envelopes for Christmas cards, and I've done custom invitations and things like that, because I love calligraphy and I love handwriting. And I love that, where's a good example of it? I don't even know. Oh, here we go. Do you see that? It says pass. Do you see how that P is formed? I form my P's that way, and I don't know why, but I do form my cursive P's that way, and I cannot tell you how excited I was when, over a decade ago, I was watching The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie with Maggie Smith, and there's a part where she's writing something on the board, and she makes her P's that same way. So maybe it's a British thing, but I was so excited. I was like, I make my P's that same way. Weird things you get excited about and remember. Okay, so that's what we got on Saturday. And I was looking at this going, are we really gonna get through this? Is this meant to be done in an afternoon? But I stitched all of this, as did many others, in Saturday and a little bit on Sunday. And Britta at our table finished it. You should find her on Instagram. I'll link her Instagram. But she finished it, hem stitch included. Like, it's done. But I like it, and I like that Nicola was challenging us and giving us new interesting stitches to try and learn. It was, you know, it's easy to make crosses and it's enjoyable. I could do 100 samplers that have nothing but cross stitch over 2 and I'd be just fine. But it's nice to mix things up. Okay, so that was Saturday. We worked on that a little bit the afternoon, and then Kathleen Littleton of Cross Stitch Antiques, who I mentioned before, this is the chart that she gave us. This does not do the piece justice. I will insert a photo, because this is a photo of the antique, but she, I think, had stitched the model and had it there on display alongside the antique. And it's only 6 colors, and it is 96 by 147. So I am going to stitch it on a really light color 56 count, I think. Although it does have cross stitch over 1. Let me make sure that is right. Yes, it does have some over 1. So maybe I should do it on 46 count. But it's just such a nice, sweet little sampler. And the model, the new stitched piece, is really pretty. And only 6 colors, and the colors are things that a lot of us probably already have. Because if you see, it's a red, a black, and some greens. And then this here is like a steel blue color. And then Sissy Bailey Smith of Gentle Pursuit Designs gave her presentation. She talked about Scottish samplers and the Scottish Castle Etui project that she had developed for her optional classes that were available on Thursday and Friday. This is something I talked about on a video several months ago, and I didn't even start it. I love it, and it was nice that the few people who had finished their Scottish castles, they brought them with them, and Sissy asked that they put theirs on display on a back table, so I was able to go and look at these, and it was really nice to see all of those finishes. So at some point, it would be nice to stitch, I mean, even if you don't do the whole etui, you could do one facade and have it made into like a little pin cushion or something. I think that would be really cute. Okay, and then that evening, we got our hats project. Now, we didn't get any linen or floss, which I think is just fine because everybody wants to use something different. There were 8 stitches there. There were 8 stitchers there. There were 56 count linen stitchers there. And so we got the chart and we can kit it up as we like. But Jane Backhouse, what I'm most excited about on this piece are these diamond medallions. You see that? They're all rice stitch. So for those of you who have been asking for me to do a rice stitch with me video, I will be using this one for that. Since I always start in the top left-hand corner, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start this and work my way down to this border, and then I will stitch some of this so that I can make that video. So you can expect a video on rice stitches within the next few weeks. I need to kit this up. It does call for 13 colors. I might have all of them in stock, but I think in stash. I am not a store, even though sometimes you open that closet and you go, it could be a store. I know I have a lot of these in stash. In fact, one of these were in that green silk pack that I bought. Actually, 2 of them. Yeah. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do, because this is a larger sampler, this is 165 by 245, and it does have a lot of stitching in it. I'm gonna just go ahead and order new spools of silk for this so that I don't have to worry about running out of anything. And for those, now this is not available for purchase now. This was a gift to the attendees, but I'm sure it will be made available in a year's time. But for those of you who do not like or cannot stitch letters over 1, you can always just take that out and move this down. And even Julie was talking about just moving the border all the way down here and stitching that because you have this big vase of flowers, a funky little house, cute little people, and fun rice stitches. And then later that evening, this is Saturday evening, there was a presentation by Tom Suddies, who was a royal photographer and worked for many, many years photographing Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh on the royal yacht. And he had some fun stories and some beautiful, amazing, candid photographs of the royal family, which was just lovely. And he was a good time. And on Sunday morning, our last day of the retreat, and my birthday, yay, I went downstairs to get breakfast from the buffet, and I ran into Brendan Kirk and said hello to him, and he wished me happy birthday. He was the first one. It was funny. And then he gave me, and I put it in this tin. This tin was another thing that we got from Nicola throughout the weekend. Okay, I put the thing that Brendan gave me in here because I didn't want it to break. He wished me happy birthday, and then he scrambled off and came back, found me in the buffet line again, and gave me this. This is a mother of pearl piece from Jackie Duplessis. You can see it's finallyfinished.com, and I'll link that below. But this is their mother of pearl piece. Fox and rabbit, oh my goodness. So I'm gonna put this in the cabinet. I'm gonna have to find a nice prominent spot to put it, but so lovely, very pretty. And then after breakfast, let's see. Oh, after breakfast, I went back upstairs and I got a very small start on Sarah Stewart Hardman. I brought the whole thing with me. I brought the fabric and the chart and all the flosses. And I started one thread and didn't even finish that thread, but I got a start. It counts, it counts. I'm not even gonna bother showing it because honestly, it was such a small start. So Sunday we had a Victorian paper project. Nicola and Sue had cut out all the pieces and scored them and inked the sides so that we could make these. I've got all these little pieces. So glued together. And this is a pocket in here. You can tuck ephemera and notes and things into, if I can get my finger in there, yep. And then there's another pocket here. This is a printable project by, let me give you the information. Oh, here we go, Emma Parrish. So if you are interested in making something like this, she has tons of other printable projects like this, Emma Parrish, and there are videos to go along with these, so pretty foolproof. It just takes a long time. But you can find her Etsy shop is etsy.com/shop/Emma Parrish Artist. See, right here. I will link that below, but really pretty, nice little thing. And then you're supposed to put some ribbon here, but the ribbon that Nicola and Sue gave us, it's this brown ribbon, and it's on this little spool, and I just think it's so cute. I don't want to take it off the spool. So actually, I have some pinky colored Mary Jo Heine silk ribbon, and I'm just gonna cut a length of that and use that to wind around these little round bits that we attached with brads. So Nicola and Sue did all the hard work for us here. We just had to glue it together and put the brads on. And they gave us everything that we needed in order to put that together. But it was nice. The theme of the weekend was Victorian era needlework. And because paper crafts and just paper ephemera was so culturally significant within the Victorian era, Nicola and Sue wanted to include a project for that. So that was interesting. Yeah, okay, so Sunday I was able to, we had breaks built in throughout the weekend. There was always a break in the morning and a break in the afternoon. And during one of these breaks on Sunday, I actually gifted something to, I say Brendan and Karen, but really it was Karen's Halloween crazy. And so she's the one who went all crazy about this thing. You guys may have noticed that on my last Flosstube episode, when I showed some Halloween finishes, I didn't show my lollies, crows, and candy corn finish that I got back from a group of things that came from Susan at Keepsakes. Well, that was because I reserved the one piece so that I could take it to Swindon, and I gave it to Karen, and she was very excited. She was very excited, and then I got to chat with her for a bit, and I think it was much appreciated. Great. And I told her, it was like, you know, you're going to Ackworth, so you're not even going to be able to display this at home this Halloween, but you can put it out next year. And she's like, oh no, it's great. I love Halloween. So now I have a little bit of Halloween with me. And she was very kind. And I told her that I included a little note that told her, like, it was stitched with Roxy Floss and who finished it and all that jazz. So I think she was very appreciative. It was nice to give a stitched piece to someone who really loves it and appreciates the time that goes into something like that. So, and then let's see. Oh, I've got more gifts here. So I kind of sprinkled this throughout, and I know I got, you know, this is a strawberry pin that was given to me by Rebecca, who was actually at a table nearby, and so blingy, so sparkly. And thank you, Rebecca. And then also sitting at Rebecca's table was this lovely lady named Rachel. And I probably would not have met Rachel, except at one point during the weekend, I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday, but Sean was talking to this woman, turned out to be Rachel, and Sean was eating this biscuit, and Rachel was holding this, like, you know, leftover container full of more biscuits. And I came over because I had to tell Sean something, and then I was just gonna, you know, not interrupt, and I was gonna leave, but I was looking at Sean eating this cookie, and I was like, no, it's really good. And Sean was like, well, why don't you ask Rachel for one? I was like, I'm not gonna beg for food. And then Sean was like, Rachel, Audrey needs a biscuit. And I am so glad I got one, because Rachel makes the best shortbread ever. And it was, I ate it, I savored it, it was delicious. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, I gotta have this recipe. So I went and found her, and I said, I understand if it's proprietary and you don't want to give it up, but are you willing to share the recipe with me? And she did. She did. I gave her my little notebook, and she wrote it all down, and she said grams or ounces, and I said grams because I have a scale and I measure everything in grams. And she's like, oh, great. And she just wrote it all down, and she kind of told me about her process and everything, and it was nice chatting with her. She said that she had gotten the recipe from like an old friend's mom or an old flatmate's mom or something like this, however many decades ago, and she's never used another shortbread recipe since. So very delicious. So at that table, I got, you know, from people at that table, I got a beautiful pin, and I got an amazing shortbread recipe, and I texted Ryan. I was like, I'm going to make some of these. I haven't done it yet. I've only been home a few days, and honestly, I'm not feeling super well. My head is like really foggy here. Okay, more stuff to go through. Yes, and then Sunday, as I say, was my birthday, so I got a couple extra goodies from people. I got this lovely birthday card that had lots of signatures from people who attended the event, some of the faculty members, and then also some friends of mine and table mates. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And Georgia gifted me, oh, I already showed the thing I put on my scissors. Then I got another sparkly pin from Georgia. This is a heart, pink and crystal, and it's got a little bow and stuff. So yeah, I needed to record this video because I'm going through everything, and I just want to put it away. Like, I want to find a pillow to put this in, but I gotta show it on the video. So now I can finally put them away. And then Nicola, she's up there, you know, we're getting ready for another presentation. So I think, and I hear, where's Audrey? Where's Audrey? And I was like, what did I do? Well, somebody told her that it was my birthday, or maybe she knows this. I don't know, because when I went to the Hobby House event last October, there were a couple other people celebrating birthdays that weekend, and she called them out and was like, happy birthday, and gave them a little something or whatever. So Nicola gave me this set of cards. Did I already talk about this? I feel like I already talked about this. Nicola gave me this set of cards, which was wonderful. I do use these cards. I have sent a lot of hats cards to people in mail or in gifts or whatever it may be. And then Sue gave me the needle miner that is now in this Winterbury case. And then, here it is. There we go. And this. And this is Ann Oxton. This chart is now available. I stitched this, and she's on the wall right there. This is a nice little, I love the key on the bottom and the kind of aqua colored heart there. So just such a nice little extra from Nicola and Sue. And I was really pleased later on Sunday, that afternoon, Nicola and Sue were kind of chatting in a corner, and I went over and interrupted them, but I interrupted them to tell them how wonderful the event was. They spoiled us. The shopping was great. I had a great time with my friends. I met a bunch of new people. It was wonderful, but also it was nice to learn something. The presentations were great. And I told them this. I said, you know, I just want you to know how much I appreciate all the time and effort over however many months that you have put into this. And I told Nicola in particular that, you know, the event at Hobby House last year was great. The tightness of the room was not, but the event was great. And then I had also seen her at Sampler Symposium, January 2024, but that was different. And she said, well, it's going to be different because for something like this, we have complete control over. And it makes such a difference because they put in so much effort to make sure that everything was special and everything was over the top, I guess. I don't even know how to put it, but it was the best retreat that I have ever been to. I haven't been to a lot of retreats, but it was the best retreat that I have ever been to. And I am going to several retreats next year, and I'll talk about that, guys, before the year end. But I just don't see how anything is going to top this. Nicola said that within the next month or two, she is going to open up registration for the next Great British Sampler Weekend to be held in Swindon, which will be in 2027, also October. She's going to open that up for us, the attendees who went this year. We will get first go. And then after a certain amount of time, I think she said about a week or something, she's going to give us, and then she'll open it up to everybody. If you can go, if you think you can go and you're at all interested, sign up. It's worth the cost. It is a long way to travel if you're coming from the US or elsewhere. Like if you're not living in England, it's a ways to go. And there were plenty of people who came from Scotland and something, and they had to drive several hours. But it was absolutely worth the journey. It was, and it was worth every pound. Later on Sunday, we had a presentation from Ray Niles. She gave us this little chart, and actually, Laura, I saw, has already finished it. So it's this chart here. This is the antique. It's just a simple little alphabet chart with the person's name on the bottom. And the original is done in a few different colors. So Ray has charted it in the multicolor format, but also you can stitch it however you like. You can stitch it in a monochromatic style. And she gave everybody, it was just random, you just get what you get. She gave everybody a painter's thread. You know what? I put it in another bag. I'm not even going to bother going to get it. But the one I ended up with was a bright, bright blue. It's a color that I didn't have. It was Wilhelmina. And if you're interested in the painter's threads, they have over-dyed silks, and it's over-dyed 103's Soie Surfine, which I am having trouble finding, and Soie d'Alger, and then a number of trims and ribbons and finishing items and things like that. So it's all over dyed and it's all gorgeous. And so everybody got something random. Like I think Bridget sitting next to me, she got a really wild one that was like green to yellow to red, and mine was blue throughout. It was just varying shades of blue. And I know that Laura, and you can follow Laura on Instagram at Maud and Mozart. She got a red, I think she got Matisse, which is like a pinky red, but it's variegated. It's very pretty. So everybody from Ray got this little chart, and it's just on this piece of cardstock. And then we all got a spool that had, I think it was 25 meters, which is a pretty good amount because it looked like Laura had posted a picture with her finished piece as well as the spool and what she had left on it. It looked like she still had quite a bit left. So 25 meters is a good amount. And then we also had a presentation from a woman who works for BBC. and says that she wants, hopefully, to produce a series of documentaries about needlework. So she has put a Google form in the Facebook group with a few different questions about like what subject matter, what particularly would we like to see covered in a docuseries about needlework. So I have to think on that and fill that out. It's not required that everybody fill this out, but if you want to have any say in this, you know, gotta answer the questions. But it was interesting. I couldn't believe it. Woman worked for, and she's been working for the BBC a long time, and this is something that she has, I guess, wanted to do for a while. So it was interesting to listen to her, and we were all so excited. We're like, yes, please, a high quality, well produced docuseries on needlework. Yes. Hopefully that comes to fruition. I mean, it wouldn't be anytime soon, and the biggest thing is she needs to find funding. Which isn't that always the problem. Let me show you a few other gifts that I got. Everybody got one of these. This is Corey Cross Stitch, and it's just a small little friendship sampler. It says friendship, and then it has a bird holding a little flower. So everybody at the retreat was given that. And then I ran into a lovely lady named Allison who had actually donated, I think, to the ASPCA. She said she lives in England, and I don't know if you guys remember, but last September and October, I had made available a small reproduction sampler, like really small red reproduction sampler for anyone who donated to UPAWS. Now, I am no longer offering that chart, but if you are so inclined, you can still donate to UPAWS, which is Upper Peninsula Animal Welfare Shelter. It's a shelter in the UP. And she said, well, I'm not able to donate on that website. Can I donate to an animal shelter organization here in the UK? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And she did that, and I sent her the chart. And then she introduced herself at this retreat and gave me this cute little kit. And I said, kid, it comes with everything I need. She said, I know you like beading, so I wanted to give you that. So thank you, Allison. That was lovely. And then Emily Williams, who comments on my videos all the time, and I actually got to talk to on a Zoom, must have been a couple months ago, because I was asked by Sarah Stitchy Spot to be the guest Flosstuber on one of her Zoom calls, and Emily was on that call. So she gave me this chart. This is Jane Boyer 1831. This is Leroy Historical Society, and I've never heard of them, but I'll have to look them up. And this looks like a Quaker to me, just based on the fonts. But yeah, just done in 6 colors. A nice little sampler. Look, there's a duck. Thank you, Emily. That was very nice. And then probably the funniest story that I have of the whole weekend. And I called my husband and I told him this and he laughed. And I called my mother and I told her this and she laughed. So as I mentioned, Greg's, it's like a Dunkin'. It's a chain and they sell breakfast items and stuff. So, but also sodas. And throughout the whole weekend, Laura and I were going over there to get Coke and Diet Coke. And Sunday afternoon, we have our break. And I was like, I need a fresh Coke. So I pop over to Greg's and I grab a Coke and a Diet Coke out of the cooler. And there was a gentleman waiting for his coffee up at the counter, but he had already paid. He was just waiting for his coffee to be ready. And so I got called up to the register so I could pay for my sodas. And the guy turns and he looks at me and he goes, "Are you a YouTuber?" And I was like, yeah. Oh my goodness. And in that moment, it should have dawned on me that his wife or partner or mother or somebody was just across the parking lot at the hotel attending the same event that I was attending. But all I could think was like, oh my God, I have been recognized in Greg's. And he was very kind, very polite. And he said, yeah, I recognize you because, in his delightful accent, I recognize you because my wife watches your videos. And I said, well, thank you so much. I paid for my sodas and I was leaving. And then I popped my head back in and I said, well, wait a minute, what's your wife's name? And he said, Allie. I was like, okay, Allie, I got it. My middle name is Allison. I can remember that. So I get back over and I deliver Laura's Diet Coke. And then we're still in break. And I was talking, I think I was with Julie, and we were looking at some stuff on the brag table. And this woman comes over and she goes, did you just get waylaid in Greg's by my husband? And I was like, hi, Allie. It was so funny. And she was so apologetic. I was like, no, it was fine. He was so nice and polite. And then I said, what's your husband's name? I should have asked him. But I said, what's your husband's name? And she said, Chris. So hi, Allie and Chris. You gave me the best story of the weekend. It was great. She was so apologetic, and she really needn't have been. It was really funny. So I found her again later and delivered her some floss drops, and she was very thankful. But to everyone, Allie and Chris included, who came up and just said hi, anything about my Flosstube videos, thank you so much. Because when I started this channel, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. I didn't even know if I was going to make more than one video. I could have been one of those people who makes one video and then decides it's not for them. But I kept going with it, and I'm so glad that I started, and I'm so glad that I did keep going, because I have made so many wonderful connections and real friendships with people through this medium. It's so weird. And I think about it, because it was several years ago, and Ryan was telling me about how his friend and mentor Mark Janes, who is the anchor for the IndyCar radio network, had somehow been contacted by this IndyCar super fan in Australia. And then that guy comes over and he's going to the 500 with his friends, and Mark Janes invites him to stay with him. And I was like, Ryan, that is so weird. And now we're friends with that same Australian. And he has stayed at our house a couple times with his friends. So looking back on that, I thought it was the weirdest thing, which I really shouldn't have, because Ryan and I met online, but we met on a dating site. It was like meant for that. Like, this is the objective. We both have the same objective. You know, you think. But then I'm doing the same sort of thing. I'm making friends with strangers online in different countries and then meeting them at these events, and it's really wonderful. So thank you to Allie and to Chris and to Allison and Emily and Rebecca and Sylvia, and who else am I missing? Thank you. I hope I have said your name. I hope I have thanked you, because I really am very appreciative. And one of the last people, maybe the last people I need to talk about, is Charlie. So Charlie started a Flosstube channel at the beginning of the year, Stitching with Charlie. And she is a brand new stitcher. Like, she just started, I think, a couple months before she started her Flosstube channel. And so you're getting to watch her as she discovers all these different things in cross stitch, and it's been really fun. And she's not really a sampler stitcher. She, you know, I don't think we have any projects in common. It doesn't matter. She's fun to watch, and it's been nice getting to know her. Well, Charlie knew that I was going to this event, and she had sent a package for me to collect at the hotel room, or at the hotel, and she sent this project bag. And keep knocking the table. Charlie, thank you so much. It's been fun watching her stitch all these different things, stitch all these different projects, and also lately she's been sewing and bag making and stuff. And she is really good. I don't know if she has like a lot of practical sewing experience, but this is a beautiful bag. I mean, look at her points. She did talk about this on her last video, the method that she uses to achieve these really nice crisp points, and I didn't really understand it. I don't really understand sewing or what she was talking about, but a beautiful bag. And then Charlie, I don't know why, but she does on the back, she'll put a corner of a contrasting fabric, and I just think that's a nice little detail. So I love that. I appreciate that. So Charlie, this is going to get used. This is going to get loved. Thank you so much. And also included, she put some chocolates in there, and those are all gone. Those matchmakers, it's like a long chocolate stick that's minty flavored. I ate them all, and it's a big box. I ate them all throughout the weekend. I was like sitting in bed eating chocolate. Oh, so thank you, Charlie. That was such a sweet surprise. Thank you so much. Stitching with Charlie is her handle. You can find her on Instagram. And this is empty. And YouTube. Okay. This video is really long. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to edit. Let me make sure that I haven't missed anything. Okay, so lunch with Georgia, and then we finished up the event. We had to skedaddle out of the room. And then after we were done and before I went to dinner on Sunday night, I hung out in the lobby and had a drink with Benta, who was also at our table, and Benta's husband. And then Georgia, and she managed to wake her husband up, Dennis, to come out and have a drink. I guess he had like slept a little too long throughout the afternoon. He was like, what time is it? But he was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun. And then I went to dinner. We just walked across the road. Laura and Brennan and Karen and Julie. And then Ray and Polly joined us. Polly was another one of the instructors who taught optional classes at, before the event. And that was a really nice dinner. It was nice. It was a great way to end that whole weekend. And it was a lovely way to celebrate my birthday. I talked to my mother-in-law this morning and she was like, well, I'm so sorry, you didn't get to spend your birthday with Ryan. And I was like, but Ryan was working that whole weekend. And on Sunday, which was my actual birthday, not only did he have like races to call that day here in Indianapolis, but he had races to call that day, and then he had that banquet to go to. So it was like I would have had to spend that night at the banquet, and he's emceeing the banquet. It's not like we're sitting and chatting and enjoying a dinner together. I would have been sat at a table with a bunch of people that, well, maybe I could have sat with people that I knew. I don't know. He told me that our friend Michael, who was a racing driver, had to sit at a table all by himself because the rest of his team didn't go, which was so weird. This is information you don't need. Okay, last thing, I will show you a little bit of other haul that I got. Well, birthday gifties. This is haul. This is Roxy Floss Co. One-of-a-Kind Floss Club for October of 2025. So now they've changed the format. It's going to be every other month. So I've gotten this pack this month, and then I'll get my next pack December. And you can still sign up for this club. You can go to evertoe.ca and just go to clubs and see what they have available. So, but even with the tariffs, it's not too expensive, and I'm happy to pay the 10 or 15% or whatever it is on floss so I can get these. I like that collection. Yeah. And then for my birthday, Mom sent me maximum cross stitch. I did request this. I did. When I saw Caroline show the stitched model all framed up and everything, this doesn't do it justice. You got to go watch their videos. And then Mom bought me all the floss to go with it. Look at this. She got me all the floss to go with it. And I already had a piece of speculoos. This must be what I pulled. 40 count speculoos. I had purchased this previously and hadn't used it yet, so perfect, because this is the called for. Very nice. So maximum cross stitch. If you like this chart, you don't want the hard copy, you just want the PDF, you can get it from Ellen's website. Ellen Reed is the designer. And you can go to, I think it's just maximumcrossstitch.com, but I'm not seeing the website on here. You can just Google maximum cross stitch. If you want the paper copy though, you can get it from evertote.ca. And then they also have the floss pack and fabric if you need it. And then my friend Jem, of course it's in a yellow envelope. We were laughing about this. She sent me a little birthday package. She sent me three big pieces of 46 count linen, as well as that lovely birthday card. She said she was at the store though, and she was trying to pick out a birthday card. And she was like, they were all so sappy. I was like, well, I like the one that you picked. She was like, I was looking for a funny one and I wasn't having any success. This is 46 count Dolly Madison. I'd say that's pretty true to color. She also gave me a piece of 40 count Dolly Madison. I have that earmarked for another piece. This is Dusty Road by Seraphim, also 46 count. This is a piece I had wanted. So she asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said, you know what I want you to do? I said, I want you to go into your stash and find me a piece that you don't want. And then she sent me 3 pieces. But this Dusty Road, that's pretty. That's pretty. I didn't have that color yet. And then this is 46 count Dames of the Needle Mad Hatter's Tea Towel. Oh yeah. Very nice. So great neutrals, perfect for sampler starts. And big pieces. I think she sent me, I think those are all 1/4 of a yard. So I have plenty to work with. Are you guys tired? Because I'm tired. Have anything else? Isn't that enough? This is gonna be a edit. Okay. One thing I want to add is that on my Stitch With Me videos, if you have any questions about anything I show in those videos, please consult the drop-down box. I do a pretty good job of putting information and links to products that I show in those videos. Every hoop that I own is a Hardwicke Manor hoop. You can find them at Hoop and Frame. And there are limited sizes and styles available, so it's easy to figure out which ones I have. The stand that I use is a Velky Pataki. You can purchase them directly from Velky Pataki. It will take months to get it. Or you can keep an eye on the Hobby House website because occasionally they have them in stock. Also, Winterbury cases, not this color, but other colors are available from Hobby House. These scissors that I showed right here, these are golden forged scissors. You can get these from Hoop and Frame. And then you can also find them at other stores. The Attic sells them. I think Needle in a Haystack sells them. Anything Minnie McBeans is going to be available from the Minnie McBeans Etsy shop, but that's only open occasionally when Sue has new stock. But Hobby House sells that stuff, as does the Attic. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can leave them in the comment section below. You can find me on Instagram at StitchStitchBead, and then you can also send me an email if you want to do that. I will leave my email address in the box below. Okay, I think that's everything. I am parched. My lips are dry. I need to go take another shower and get into my gym jams, and then I'm going to edit all this, and maybe it'll be up by midnight. How about that? Okay, I don't think I forgot anybody, but maybe I did. And I'm really sorry if I did. But I just want to say again, thank you so much to everybody who came up just to have a conversation with me, just to say hi. And an extra special thank you to anybody who thought of me when they were packing gifts and made an extra for me. And the little gifts I got throughout the weekend, whether it was just because you were handing them out to the whole room or you wanted to get me something special for my birthday, I so appreciate it. I so appreciate the time and effort that goes into these things, because I can tell you, so the gift that I gave everybody with those floss drops is that I actually pre-punched all of them. I pre-punched all of the floss drops that I gave out, top and bottom hole, and I even broke one of my hole punches. Thank goodness I had a second one in the house, and I have since found a third. So even if I break another one, I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And thank you. And Nicola's not going to watch this, but thank you to Nicola and Sue for putting on an awesome retreat. So again, go ahead and sign up for this one when the signups are opened up, because even though 2027 is a long way out, it'll be here before you know it, because I've been thinking about this retreat for a year and a half, and now it's gone. It's over. Okay. I'm going to be done now. You guys can expect another Stitch With Me video next week. How about that? Next week. And then I'll have a regular Flosstube episode probably early to mid-November when I've actually got some stitching to show you. Okay? But thank you so much. Much love to you all. Happy stitching.